Story 1. My husband can't whistle. He always tries but just can't get it. One day, while out hiking with our dogs, they went too far ahead, so my husband tried to whistle for them. The first few attempts had no effect. Then I whistled for them. Apparently, my husband was trying to whistle at the same time. He heard my whistle and thought it was his. He was so proud, grinning from ear to ear. I didn't have the heart to tell him it was me, and still don't. It was so cute to see how happy he was. Story 2. I've always known he takes sildenafil. I think he would say his biggest secret is that he takes sildenafil. Story 3. As someone who absolutely hated dancing and always declined invitations to go dancing, I have learned the basic steps of bachata, which is her favorite dance. I am not sure how long I will keep it a secret. I am just waiting for the right moment to reveal this surprise. Story 4. I beat my wife in every video game. I purposely lose at Pew Pew Tetris because she likes it, and it is the only way for me to enjoy her company while playing. Story 5. I lied and replaced a card in a Magic the Gathering booster so my girlfriend could finally find an expensive chase rare. We both recently got into Magic the Gathering. For me, it was a return after 25 years of not playing, and she was new. We were both looking for a hobby to enjoy together to help us get our minds off the devastating 2 years we had just fought through. It was 2 years of cancer diagnosis, heartbreaking surgeries and doctor visits, losing her 2 dogs, who were like her children, all while trying to finish the last year of her PhD in cancer research. The cataloging, sorting, playing, trading, and collecting seemed to put her in a quiet place where she could turn her thoughts to something else and just heal. She even played in her first tournament at Gen Con. She jumped in with both feet and opening booster packs, and finding cards with value seemed to light her up in a way I hadn't seen since we began our war on cancer. The problem was she never seemed to have the luck I did with finding chase rares, and with the latest set being totally her style, small cute animals, she wanted them all. So, I ordered a bundle of collector boosters and the very expensive raised foil rabbit card she was looking for, cut open a booster, slid it in, and resealed it well enough so she wouldn't notice. Seeing her open that pack, hearing her voice shake along with her hands, and watching that fleeting panic that she might have damaged the card transition to pure joy was incredible. I feel a twinge of guilt about it, but I'll take the secret to my grave. She thinks she got super lucky finding an incredibly rare card. It's a small thing, but it meant the world to her. Story 6. When he proposes to me, I have an engagement watch for him. My father gave it to me a few months after I started dating him and said that I could do what I wanted with it. It has been 5 years, and all I need is a nice box and ribbon. The watch is a Breitling Aerospace. My father and his father collected watches, so we often inherited some. They collected them when luxury brands were more affordable. The timing was not related to me starting to date my boyfriend. My father flew over to get a few older watches serviced as we grew up overseas. He just wanted to bring a gift. Story 7. I have a box of little crochet animals in the garage that I make when I'm bored or between clients. I let my fiancée know that if anyone at work would like one, she's a hospice nurse, she can just take them from the box, no questions asked. That's what I told her. Anyway, the secret is that I purposefully make items for her to take. I even have a small spreadsheet so I know which animals and colors are the most popular, and I make sure there are always extras. Obviously, I don't know who receives them because of confidentiality, but I try to provide as wide a variety as I can. Story 8. It's not really a secret anymore because I laughed the last time I saw him do it. When he used to make me Impossible burgers, he would use a meat thermometer to make sure they were safe to eat like a normal burger. It was so sweet that I didn't want to tell him I could probably eat them raw if I wanted. They were also like chewing a brick. I love that man. Story 9. We have been together for 5 years. We met at a football game. Our biggest thing in common is our love for our team. Every Sunday for years, we get together to watch the games with her family. I am not really into football. I was at the game where we met because someone bought tickets and I was off, so I was sure to go. I have never really understood it, so for years, anytime the family cheers, I just follow with cheers, and when they boo, I do the same. Story 10. I don't think his youngest son is his. The story about how this child came to be is very shady. Between having his vasectomy reversal and how low he said his sperm count is, combined with the fact that he caught the boy's mom cheating during the time they were trying, and how fast she came back with the paternity results, it all feels very wrong. 13 years later, when we talk about his youngest, he always brings up how similar they look. I just agree. This kid looks nothing like him or his other two kids. My boyfriend is 5 feet 7 inches tall, has blue eyes, black hair, and a lean build. The youngest is already over 6 feet tall, has brown eyes, brown hair, and is kind of chubby. His mom is very slim, has blue eyes and blonde hair. He wanted to get them all 23andMe for Christmas. I talked him out of it. I think it would ruin Christmas for him if it came out. Story 11. I want to marry him much sooner than I thought, but as an immigrant, I worry that bringing it up will raise eyebrows and cause him, his family, and friends to think I want to do this to get permanent residence quickly. Therefore, I have been working extra hard to qualify on my own. Story 12. If I'm stuck on a game, she will casually suggest things I could try without directly telling me the answer. She will go very quiet, use her phone, and then say, I wonder if this game has any enhancements to your lightning damage. Or, oh, a dragon. He looks like he wouldn't like ice damage very much. I know she is searching for information, but I pretend I don't because she gets so excited when her hints work, and she thinks she helped me figure it out on my own. Story 13. I have turned a closet in the hallway into a shoe closet because she has wanted one for a very long time. When she comes back home in a couple of days, I hope she loves it. Story 14. When she watches those Hallmark movies that I dislike, I sometimes pretend that I am focused on the game I am playing or the task I am doing, but I am actually caught up in what is happening in the movie. Let me be clear. They are boring and I dislike them. Story 15. On occasion, I send Instacart groceries to local people asking for food. I know what it is to be hungry. My husband never has. I do not think he would understand. Not that he is against helping, but he might get upset with me sending groceries and spending $80 to $100 just for basics for someone to get by until their next paycheck. Story 16. Years later, I am still not over her infidelity. I have my reasons for staying, but the pain remains. Story 17. His father's dementia is much more severe than he realizes. Story 18. I'm proposing today and I have been planning for most of this year. I am terrible at keeping secrets and have almost revealed the surprise a few times. Edit. He said yes. Story 19. I go away once a month for a mysterious workshop that he is not allowed to ask about. What he does not know is that it is a blacksmithing workshop, and I am currently making him a sword to propose to him with. Story 20. My insecurity is so painful, and I feel like I'm screaming from the inside. I hide many feelings about my insecurities all the time. Inside, I'm convinced that I'm not good enough for anyone who could be with me and want that. I dated a few guys who didn't like me but kept dating me. Does anyone like me? Outwardly, I do weird things like look away when we pass an attractive woman. There is no amount of reassurance anyone can give me. It's me. All me. I'm a people pleaser to the extreme, and I'm so insecure that if I fall out with people, which is totally normal, I obsess over how people don't like me because I'm not likable. It's a war in my head. He knows I'm insecure, but he knows only a small fraction of what I feel. Story 21. I told her my body count when she asked randomly years ago, before it became trendy. I had been in the military for a while, so I thought she meant real body count, as in kills while I was in. I told her, 22 confirmed, and she giggled and repeated confirmed, which made me mentally smile. I didn't ask hers back because I wouldn't have assumed that a waitress had killed anyone. Years later, when I learned the other, more cultural definition, I couldn't tell her. Story 22. I have a large, secret candy stash I hide far away from him in my closet, hoarding it like a little candy dragon. I love him. I have some chocolates accessible in the freezer if he wants some. I share certain varieties I buy in small doses, but I keep all my best candy locked away because he will absolutely consume all of it in a week. If I tell him to replace it, he will, but sometimes it takes him a while and I don't want to wait more than 3 days for a refill of my candy. Some of the items he's eaten are hard to find, like certain sugar-free gummies I've had to buy from multiple stores or international treats sold only at one market in the area. So he won't replace those but reimburses me. It's still annoying that I have to go out and find them again. He's thin and fit, so he feels no guilt about eating half a bag of candy in one sitting, but I'm losing weight and cherish sweets infrequently. It bothers him for some reason that it can take me 5 months to finish a bag of Dove chocolate. I even have some Easter candy left in my stash. Of all the flaws someone could have, this is not so bad. He at least tries to replace or reimburse me, but it's easier if I keep my sweets to myself and share small portions. Story 23. Our 10th anniversary is coming up in January. We got engaged 10 years ago last week with a ring that looks nice but was the best I could afford at the time. We are not wealthy, both educators, but we have moved up enough on our district salary schedules and cleared out some larger debts. My 10th anniversary gift is a new ring that costs about 5 times the original amount and looks it. 5 months until I can show her. Story 24. I still have nightmares about my abusive ex-boyfriend 25 years later. Story 25. When we started dating, I told him I was not ticklish. I just had to hold it together and stay unbothered the first time he tried. He said it was no fun, and 11 years later he still thinks I am not ticklish. Best secret I have ever kept. Story 26. I was hesitant about marrying him because the idea of losing him someday is incredibly painful and heart-wrenching to me. When my grandmother died, my grandfather was and still is a shadow of who he used to be. He was absolutely devastated by her death. He is not the same person anymore. They were together for over 50 years. That kind of grief and pain scares me deeply. It is selfish to say, but I hope I pass first because living without him is incomprehensible to me. At the end of the day, I believe that having loved deeply and lost is preferable to not loving at all. Story 27. The number of times those intrusive thoughts enter my mind is countless, but my wife is one of the main reasons I hold myself together. I think about how tragic things would be if I actually followed through, so that always helps. I do that for everything, if not her, then my dog, my parents, or my family. Story 28. I know my husband eats meat despite his insistence that he is vegetarian like me. I do not care, but it is cute that he does not think I know. I have been vegetarian for over 20 years, but one of his former coworkers told me he saw him eating pepperoni pizza. Since then, I have noticed small meat escapades. It is so adorable that I cannot even call him on it because it does not matter to me, but I know he would be embarrassed. Story 29. We are going to Italy next spring. I am surprising him with a vow renewal and flying out our original photographer to retake our wedding photos. We love them but have both lost weight and want to retake them when we are more confident and comfortable in our bodies. He has absolutely no idea that any of this is happening except that we will be in Italy. Story 30. Sometimes, if we go to sleep arguing and he falls asleep first, I cuddle up with him anyway and kiss his cheeks. Story 31. One of the biggest secrets I kept from my partner involved a time in my life before we met. A few years back, I was really struggling financially. I ended up racking up a significant amount of debt trying to stay afloat. By the time I met my partner, I was just beginning to get back on my feet, and I was too embarrassed to share how bad things had been. I had always told myself I would wait until the right moment to tell them, but as our relationship grew, so did my fear of their reaction. It was not just about the money. I was afraid they would see me differently, as someone who did not have it all together. I knew that honesty is key in a relationship, but I kept delaying the conversation, convincing myself that I would tell them once things were more under control. The weight of that secret was heavy. Every time we talked about the future or made plans, I felt a pang of guilt, knowing I was not being completely transparent. There were close calls when I almost blurted it out, especially when we talked about big financial decisions. But I held back, worried about the fallout. Eventually, I realized that this secret was eating away at me, and it was not fair to either of us. The day I finally confessed, I was expecting anger or disappointment, but instead, my partner just listened. They were more understanding than I could have imagined, and together we worked out a plan to handle things. It was a huge relief, but I will never forget how difficult it was to carry that secret, and how much easier it would have been if I had just been honest from the start. It taught me that in a strong relationship, it is better to face the tough conversations early on, rather than letting them grow into something bigger and more daunting. Story 32. I resent him for never having done big romantic gestures, maybe even medium ones. It feels like he does not think I am worth the effort. It feels like I am always compromising for whatever he wants, and it never comes back around. Story 33. His birthday plans, we follow each other on here, so it will have to remain a secret. I don't keep secrets from him. He turns 30 tomorrow, and even though he says he is not bothered, I want him to have the best day. I spent my 30th on my own as it was during lockdown. He deserves the world and more. Story 34. I know all of the details surrounding his mother's death. She passed from cancer and it was severe. He knows what he needs to. The rest would only break his heart. I think the only person who knows as much as I do is his father. But even then, I'm not sure he fully understands how traumatic it was. I will never share because I know she would not have wanted them to suffer with that information, and they do not need it. Story 35. I don't like the way he folds my laundry, but I will never tell him that. He is very insistent on helping me with small tasks when he can tell I am overwhelmed. I am incredibly grateful for him and all he does. I don't even mind that the shirts he folds don't match the rest, or that he puts my jeans in the wrong spot because the incorrectly folded clothes are just another small sign of his love for me, and I would not trade that for the world. Story 36. I sing Shania Twain and Celine Dion songs while she is asleep, with my whole chest. We are metal, electronic dance music, and bass music enthusiasts. Story 37. How much money I have lost in cryptocurrency. Edit. I thought it said parent. I do not have a partner. Story 38. She is imaginary. It would break her heart if she found out. Story 39. Her depression is very difficult for me, but I somehow put up with it. She can be really awful to me sometimes, but I have gotten used to it. I cannot leave because she cannot make it on her own. I hope she passes away long before me so I can maybe enjoy the last years of my life happily. We are in our 50s and have been together for 23 years. Story 40. You are some of the worst sex I have ever had. I love you, but you were just not good in bed. Story 41. There is a large amount of custard in the garage refrigerator that she does not check. It is always topped up, and she never knows because she never goes to that refrigerator. Therefore, there is effectively an eternal supply that I deliver to her with various puddings. Story 42. I know this says partner, but I read a comment from someone misreading that as parent. I have a secret that I'm currently hiding from my parents, so I'm not sure if this belongs here. I just had a kidney removed due to cancer and haven't told them yet. Maybe never. I'm 53 and they're in their 80s. They don't need to know, but I'm concerned they might find out because I haven't kept it secret from everyone. The cancer is gone as much as cancer can. Be gone. Everything removed. Clear margins. No spread. Unless I have more bad luck, I should be able to live a normal life with one kidney and regular monitoring. In other words, they could live out their lives blissfully ignorant like I was until 3 months ago. Story 43. I have had an engagement ring in my closet for months. I am traveling, and he is supposed to meet me in Germany. I am going to propose while we are there. Story 44. Right now, I've known what I'm getting her for Christmas since our 5th or 6th date back in March. It's a missing piece from her collection. She's going to be very surprised. Haha, I can't wait. Story 45. I have learned to hate him. He is mentally abusive and it is exhausting. I do not deserve it. Everyone thinks he is the nicest man ever, but he is not. Story 46. I love seeing him swim. Seems weird to say, but I like how his body looks when he is swimming. I really like and love him, I guess. Story 47. If I eat Lenny and Larry's protein cookies, I get very gassy. She blames it on all the quinoa I eat, but it's really the cookies. I really love those cookies. Story 48. I am planning to record covers of 2 of our wedding songs for our 1-year anniversary. Story 49. I went to school with her sister and had a thing for her. I had no clue my fiancé and her were sisters until 8 years later when we started dating. Story 50. I want my currently unknown diagnosis to be cancer so I have an understandable and guiltless reason to die. Story 51. I am halfway checked out of the relationship. After 9 years, his pornography addiction has destroyed me mentally, and I really cannot find myself attractive anymore. I am on a new path to loving myself after he promised he would change, but if he decides that pornography is more important than my mental health again, I will be done with him. I am tired of giving him chance after chance. I truly hope he realizes this is his last chance before he messes up and loses a woman who has truly loved him. Story 52. A few weeks ago, I placed a mobile McDonald's order using the app to get a discount for breakfast for our son. My husband was going to pick it up on his way home. I ordered him the big breakfast with hotcakes. My son eats the hotcakes and hash browns, and my husband eats the rest. When he got home, he was upset because he had to argue with the lady at McDonald's to get the hotcakes we ordered and paid for. She insisted we did not order hotcakes, but he insisted we did. Eventually, they gave him the hotcakes and apologized to him. I discreetly checked my order in the app and discovered I did not actually order the hotcakes, just the regular big breakfast. I will never tell him it was really my mistake. I am taking that to my grave. But I do wish I could apologize to the lady at McDonald's. Story 53. I am keeping a daily journal for my wife that she does not know about. Every day, I write down something special that she did for me, said to me, or did for the kids that made their day better. She is the sweetest and most loving person I know. I will give it to her for Christmas. Story 54. Sometimes he shows me memes or reels that he thinks I will find funny when he is scrolling on his phone. Quite often, it is something I have already seen, but I pretend it is not and laugh along with him as if it is the first time I have seen it. Story 55. I dislike their parents. They are perfectly decent people, but I find them unbearably dull to the point where spending any significant time with them is excruciating for me. Unfortunately, my partner is extremely close to their parents. It would break their heart to learn my feelings. Story 56. I secretly obsess over their insecurities. They have many complaints about their body, and I try to say that I do not see them, but I do. I love them. Their body is incredibly gorgeous, and the little things they dislike are the little things I love. Story 57. They are not my partner. I am single, but I am in love with my best friend, and I try to treat them as I would in a relationship. However, they do not love me in return. Story 58. I know she lies to me about her self-worth. In truth, she feels inadequate and undeserving. Most days, I see her silent struggle and try to make her feel safe, healthy, heard, and desired. I only talk with her about her anxiety and depression when she brings it up. Sometimes, I envy her therapist because I want to be the hero she needs. I suppose that means I feel inadequate too. Her suicide attempt led to her being admitted to a psychiatric facility last year. I wrestled the blade from her hands while she begged me to let her kill herself. That experience haunts me every day, and I have never told anyone because I want that reality to disappear. We have been together for 30 years, married for 24 years, have 6 children, and have achieved the highest goals in education, prosperity, and romance, but declining health is catching up to us. Story 59. He has always wanted a PlayStation 5. As a teenager, he had jobs and tried saving up for it, but his mom was, let's just say, not supportive and kept taking the money. He became an adult and other priorities came up, but he always said he wanted to buy one in the future. I got him the PlayStation 5, a few games, the virtual reality headset, the headphones, literally anything I could find related to PlayStation 5. I am hiding it in the attic right now, but I plan to give it to him next week. Story 60. I watched all of the Harry Potter films a week before she was finally ready to try them. I acted like I had not seen them in a long time so she would not lose interest. Story 61. I knew she was the one I wanted to marry and grow old with when she was watching the news like an elderly woman sipping her coffee. I definitely pictured spending my mornings like that. Fast forward 6 to 7 years, we live together, and I still get to spend some mornings like that. She is not a morning person, which is why it is only some. Story 62. My wife was sexually, physically, and mentally abused by her last ex-boyfriend prior to meeting me. Hearing and seeing the effects of what she endured deeply affected me. I, unemployed at the time, followed him around for several weeks, learning his patterns. He drank at the same bar every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, always parking in the back of the bar near a dumpster in a poorly lit area. He would stumble to his car around closing time and drive home drunk. One Thursday night, when there was the least foot traffic near the bar, I waited behind the dumpster. When he came out stumbling drunk, I beat him severely. He was not found until Saturday morning. He spent several weeks in the hospital and then months in a rehabilitation facility. He died by suicide last month, almost 10 years after the incident. I honestly hope my actions contributed to his decision. Story 63. I love him. I'm pretty sure I have loved him on some level since we first met. It's only been a couple of months, and he is not even officially my boyfriend, but we are exclusive. I would tell him, but he is nowhere near ready to hear it. Story 64. I have a collection of 1/18th scale action figures that grows by one figure a week. The figures I have on display are about half of what I still have hidden in an unused suitcase. Story 65. How much working the job I work is hurting me. I work overnights, and the isolation, no sun, and repetitive, mindless work create a perfect atmosphere of brain confusion and overthinking that results in me being almost constantly idly suicidal while on the clock. I have managed to reduce it from the active suicidal thoughts and attempt on my own life that happened earlier this year. This job will only last until we move at the end of the year, but it started when I got the job in 2022 and until recently has only gotten worse. I feel guilty about it because he is disabled and does what he can to help around the house and support me. He is generally a wonderful person and a delight to spend time with, but he is currently unable to contribute financially. I am the one keeping us fed and housed right now, but doing so makes me want to die. At least it usually subsides by the time I get home. I confessed the aforementioned attempt to him, but I cannot talk about my current, persisting feelings. Story 66. I bought an engagement ring months ago and am going to propose in the next few weeks. Story 67. Toss-up between how much I drink during the week and my eating disorder. We only see each other on weekends, so it is easier to hide. However, I am a little scared since we are taking a one-week vacation together in September. Story 68. I have been talking with her best friend to help organize a surprise 40th birthday party for her. I accidentally left my little notebook with all my plans out by the computer one time and got worried I had ruined it. But she has not said anything or let on that she knows. If she is aware, I just hope she still acts surprised when it finally happens. Story 69. What I really went through in the army, I don't think she will ever understand or even be interested, I guess. My partner, when I was in the army, kept telling me about the mumblings I made during my sleep or my sudden waking up saying gibberish. She had a brother in the army and thus understood why. Story 70. I have a journal full of love songs I have written for her. I cannot sing well, so I have never been able to find out if they sound good. Story 71. At this point, I dislike him and am quietly preparing to divorce him. The only reason I try to keep the peace is for the sake of my child, who is also tired of his behavior. Story 72. I don't like his pea and ham soup. I feel awful about it because he is a really good cook and meal prepared it. I am just so sick of it, and there is still a bunch in the freezer that he wants me to eat. I have actually thrown a couple away and just bought lunch. I am going to try and eat them because I feel guilty. Story 73. I can never tell her how many spiders I silently kill around the house. Story 74. I love him. We have been together for about 5 months, but I think we are both too scared to say it first. I have some intense trauma that makes me feel entirely unlovable, and if he did not feel the same way, I would be destroyed. Story 75. I was assaulted after our 3rd date. He knows I was sexually assaulted around that time, but he does not know it happened after we started talking. I know he would not be upset with me for the assault, but I am terrified he will think of me differently if he finds out how I even got there in the first place. I was not even supposed to be there. Story 76. My husband is a good man. He took care of my siblings' university education and my parents financially. He is loving, sweet, caring, and most of all, very generous. He is a philanderer. Throughout the years, he has had multiple affairs with men and women. One-night stands, casual hookups, you name it, he has had it. My husband is very smart, but he uses the same passcode every time he upgrades phones. Over the years, I have managed to get access to his WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and personal and work emails. The first time I discovered this, I was hurt and cried about it every time. But as time went by, it made me numb. Whenever I have the chance, I screenshot the conversations and photos and send them to myself to print out. I have 3.5 binders full of these printouts and a flash drive full of videos. I am at the end of my rope. I am at my breaking point. One day soon, I will do something about it. This is a promise I repeat to myself over and over again. Story 77. My husband does not eat enough fiber, so for about 10 years I have been adding dissolving fiber to his powdered coffee creamer. It is about 50-50 now, but because I did it slowly, he just got used to putting more in his cup to achieve the right color. Story 78. He got me a secret rare Pompompurin Gotcha charm when visiting Japan because I love that little guy. One day, it fell off my key holder at the supermarket, but I did not notice until it was too late. I searched Japanese resale sites to find another one and finally did for about $40. It was totally worth it, but I do not have the heart to tell my partner I lost the original charm. It is just not the same. Story 79. I am only staying with him because we have a daughter. Story 80. I secretly play Mortal Kombat and have become really good at it. He thinks I am just button mashing and accidentally discovering combos, but I beat him every time. Story 81. I'm 4 gnomes in a trench coat. The secret is weighing on our collective mental health. We are now struggling with work at the plant and might lose our jobs. There is not much work around the garden, so we are in dire straits if that happens. Story 82. I was harmed by a friend. He had been warning me for weeks that he had bad gut feelings about the person, but I ignored him. I did not tell him afterwards because he would be hurt, and I blamed myself. Story 83. I am a victim of child sexual abuse. We have a child on the way, so I am cautious around all family and friends. He does not understand why, but I cannot bring myself to say anything. Story 84. After my mother passes, hopefully a long time in the future, I will be inheriting a substantial amount of money based on my father's will. My husband knows about $250,000 of that, which came to me when my father died earlier this year, but we have not discussed the rest. I plan to tell him about it when the time comes, but for now I do not want him to view my mother or me differently, and I do not want it to become a topic of extended family gossip. I do not feel especially bad about this choice because he has a good job, I am about to start a good job, and even if we only had one income, we would both be able to live very comfortably in our area. Story 85. I still think about my ex all the time. I do not want my ex back. It was a toxic relationship, an anxious avoidant trap for those familiar with attachment styles, and I will never put myself in a position like that again. My current partner is lovely, kind, caring, fun, and perfect for me. I like her very much. But still, I often find myself feeling sad that my ex did not choose me. I am in therapy. Story 86. I daydream constantly. Cannot help it. He just thinks that I am thinking about work, but in reality, I am daydreaming about how my life would be if he were somebody else, anybody else, some kind of fantasy character from a movie. Story 87. I bought his favorite toy car model and planned our anniversary date at a fancy restaurant nearby. He dumped me 2 months before our anniversary, though. Story 88. I don't have secrets. I trust him until he gives me a reason not to, and so far he hasn't. If he does, that's on him. We talk about everything, good or bad, but I am still amazed that he stayed. I am not the easiest person to be with. I am not a bad person, just not always nice to be around. I am not drop-dead gorgeous, nor do I have a fabulous body. He is an absolute gem of a human being, and almost 15 years later, I am still surprised that this man, who had options, chose me. I thought it would last 6 months at best. Story 89. That Charlie, her dog, finishes the vegan cake she happily offers me every now and then. It tastes awful, and I do not have the stomach to tell her that. Also, Charlie seems to enjoy it, so no harm is done. Story 90. For the last couple of years, my partner has been cooking meat alternative burgers. I pretend not to notice and act like I even prefer them. I can never tell. Story 91. I am quietly learning Hindi, so I can talk to my wife's family when we visit. Story 92. I spent $200 on a contest for him. He does not know because I do not want him to have any doubts. I just want to see if we win him a new truck or $12,000 before saying anything. Story 93. Her Yule gifts are a year of work. When the holidays come around, she always forgets what she wants. But over the year, she will say, "Oh, I would love to have that," or point out that something is cute. It goes on a list. At the end of the year, she has forgotten these things, and they become amazing gifts she never asked for. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.